welcome to another edition of Thought Leaders Live, where we talk with thought leaders in business, life, and all points in between. Today, we're with Andy Melang. Is it Melang?
Yes, correct.
Yep. Okay. Second generation owner of Ultratech Tool and Design. Um, Very excited to have Andy on the program because we've got an owner here who is also a marketer who is on LinkedIn doing a lot of videos from the factory floor. So this whole program will be about how to use the plant floor to power your social media marketing. Andy, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Appreciate you having me. Excited to be on and talk marketing and sales.
Okay. You may hear the killer chihuahua in the background as somebody is at the door. So please ignore a couple barks. It's actually applause for you, Andy, in the
Yeah,
background.
I'm sure it is.
Andy's a fellow cheesehead up the road in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. So good to have another Packer fan on the show here.
Yep. Big weekend this weekend.
Yeah, it's a big weekend. So, Andy, why don't we start out before we jump in the subject matter and have you tell us a little bit about your personal journey and how you came into the business.
Yeah, so I started here at Ultratech in about 2007. And again, I'm second generation ownership. So my father, Bill, started the company back in 89. And it started with a gradual evolution of what you probably commonly see in the tool and die world today is someone that wants to start their own tool and die shop. They usually start with tool design. They do that as like a side gig while they might be working at an existing tool shop. And then they kind of vertically integrate from there. So then you start with tool design, you start to make some money, then you start to invest in some equipment, and then you become a die builder or a tool shop. And then from there, you kind of get into maybe low volume or high volume stamping. And that's kind of the very common vertical path you see people take. Sometimes it stops just at tool and die, but more and more in the industry today, people are looking to go into the stamping realm because it smooths out the peaks and valleys of tool and die. Tool and die is very feast or famine, and automotive being the 800-pound giant in the room. When there's not program launches, there's not a lot of tooling to build. People are always looking elsewhere, and we're seeing a lot of pent up demand for future programs that might be launching in 26, 27, 28 that just have been kicking the can down the road analogy. And so that's kind of our background is we started with design, went into tool, and then went into mass production stamping. That's why you see the tool and design. And now primarily today, I came on the scene in 07. I worked on the floor. I've done ran presses myself. I've done logistics. I've done the accounting. I've seen all of it. I've been put through the ringer, so to say, seen all the elements you can of a business. And come around 2014 or so is when I really transitioned to sales and marketing. When we had other people that did our sales and marketing, but the challenge is if you're not familiar with what a stamping is, it can make it a little bit hard to sell stampings if you're not familiar with the whole process. And having the knowledge, the background, running machines kind of helps you identify, hey, this is a good fit, or maybe no, this isn't. And so I started there in 2014 after being on the floor and stuff, and really went into program management, launching projects, as well as selling. So it was the thing of the person that's buying the groceries is the one making the dinner sort of a analogy is I had to go out there and sell, but then I would manage the project when it came here. And fast forward now, geez, going on 12 years now, got an actual ownership seat at the table, but still doing the sales and marketing stuff because I love that.
Well, and I mean, so critical, like most owners, that it seems like it's almost an afterthought, especially in manufacturing. Get a couple big clients and then you get just totally wrapped up in that. So kudos to you for like really getting in there, getting down in the trenches, not only on the operational standpoint, but in the sales and marketing. And I'm curious, I mean, what insights did you bring to the management team when you got into the sales and marketing? And, do you feel like that's influenced your management and what you have to share with from an ownership perspective?
Absolutely, especially recently in the past couple of years, as I've gotten more and more involved in the high level stuff, I'll say, in management. We're really pushing knowing what our costs are. And we're seeing in the auto industry right now, there's a lot of financial distress. Suppliers still coming out of COVID, microchip shortage, the strike, reduced volume. There's a lot of people that are in distress right now. And we pride ourselves on knowing, what our costs are and going to the customers right now that might be looking to find alternative sources. Maybe someone's underperforming, someone's in distress, and saying, hey, we're strong. We got a rock solid foundation right here. Come talk to us. We got capacity available. And so I can take my experience both on the floor, and I can look at a stamping or look at a print and say, yes, that's a stamping, and get numbers turned around quickly. But then I also know what should our value add be to what our total sales are. And, I don't have to go through layers of management to get approved. I don't have to go to an estimator and then get final approval from management. Even as much as yesterday, I got parts to quote that I turned around in about 15 minutes because I knew generally what the material cost is, how we process it, what we would package it in, and then you just turn it around. And speed is the name of the game, especially at the beginning part of the year, because people want to find cost savings. That's what we try to deliver. So I've really leveraged everything into the sales and marketing game, having the background and knowing what you need to price things at, what is a stamping, how it works, the process behind it. Just so invaluable.
Wow. And I mean, we always think in terms of speed, in terms of throughput and things like that, but speed from the quoting aspect and getting right back to them. I mean, do you think you have an advantage in that aspect versus a lot of your competitors?
Yeah, we do have some software that helps us where we can take like a CAD file, like in step format or IGES or whatever, and we can get a rough, it'll essentially unfold the part, and we can get a rough material utilization in honestly about a minute, like really
Wow.
crude, but it can get accurate. And
Yeah.
so once I kind of know what the strip layout would be in like a progressive tool, we kind of know based on buying steel day in and day out, we kind of know, hey, okay, this is the market price for steel. We'll slap a number on there, price per pound for steel or aluminum, stainless, whatever. And we know what press are we going to go in? What's the die size? What's the tonnage? What are the parameters we need? Okay, we're going to go in this press. It's going to run probably this fast. And these are maybe the extra variables. Maybe you got to weld a nut on it, or it's got to go to E-coat or plating or something like that. And we kind of know historically from other parts we produce where that cost is going to fall. And so having that 12 to 15 years of knowledge, you can just start really input stuff very quickly.
Sure.
And then you turn around stuff and people go, oh, wow, thanks for the quick turnaround. And it's like, well, it comes natural at this point.
Yeah. But that's the first experience they are going to have with you. And we had Justin Rowe on the show a few weeks back, and he was talking about that when somebody enters into a relationship with you, they are thinking long term. Like they know your business is going to probably change, how you're doing business today is going to change, and the fact that this is going to be a series of interactions and things like that, and deliverables and the whole 9 yards. And I think just the fact that you are coming out of the gates with your S together and giving them a really good experience, it just speaks volumes. You've got the owner who's really quoting you quickly and effectively and is on top of it. That just seems like sends out such a great signal for the long-term relationship.
Yeah. And when you said down in the trenches, that's exactly right. And that's what I tell existing customers or prospective customers. They said, look, I know I'm selling you and I'm going to tell you everything's great and whatever. I have the greatest equipment, greatest on-time delivery, quality, etc. But I said, I will be down there in the trenches. The same guy that's telling you I can do it and we'll do it, I'm going to be the one doing the APQP. I'm going to be the one looking over the PPAP as we start production. I'm going to be the one managing, the die build status, the timelines. Like we might have 20 tools, 20 different part numbers that we're going to launch. I'm going to be on top of all of that. So it's like I just back up my own talk. Well, it's easy to do. It's hard to do when you're the salesperson and then you got to hand it off to an account manager that maybe they don't have the same amount of skin in the game. There's no greater skin in the game than being ownership, and having your own name to it. So yeah, that's a tremendous, asset. And again, that's what we push when I do my video marketing on the floor is I say, look, this is me. This is who I am. The videos that I make at the machines, they're raw. They're not polished. I'll probably goof up a word here and there, but this is real. You can see this is true. It's not like perfected and polished. This is who we are. This is what we can do for you. How can you relate?
Let's segue into your video work, because I've seen you on LinkedIn quite a bit. We've interacted a little bit on each other's posts, in the manufacturing space on LinkedIn. It's you bump into a lot of people. And I think it's just, I'm always impressed with the owners who get out there and are active on LinkedIn. And I think, your approach is so unique. I think it's great and admirable that you watch Andy's videos and he's talking over a stamping machine, hammering in the background. It was like, that is like the hardest thing to do. I imagine it's kind of funny just hearing it for the first time, but it's so cool because you're on the floor. And so A, it's obviously showing your expertise, but B, it's showing your equipment in action. And so tell me how you got into the LinkedIn live videos. Share with us your marketing journey.
Yeah. So it was probably about when I got into sales in 2014. I had a LinkedIn, but it was mainly I was connecting with suppliers and some customers, and I might curate stuff, share an article or whatever, and just kind of like, hey, I'm sharing this, whatever.
Yeah.
And as the years went by, 2015, 16, 17, maybe I'd share a picture of what we're doing. And then I started thinking, well, if I'm connecting with these people that I'm targeting, maybe if they see what I'm doing, that would be of interest. So then I started to take video without me in it, but video at the machine of what we're producing. And someone could then look at that and go, oh, hey, yeah, that's interesting. Like we kind of have something similar to that in need. Maybe that's, could be of help. And there wasn't a lot of people doing that. Now there's a good chunk of people. It's actually cool to see other people doing it and seeing what they're making. But then I wanted to take a step further and say, okay, well, what happens if I'll stand in front of the camera now at the machine and I will tell the story beyond just videotaping the machine running. And so there's sometimes where I might be at a press and I'll try to use it educational of, what is like reverse tonnage, what is, why counterbalance pressure is critical, or, why you can't run a press always as fast as it can go based on the material properties. So I try to do some educational stuff that builds a reputation, but then also just say, hey, we have capacity. This is the size. This is a tool. This is a tool we took over from another source that we adapted here in house to make it work. If you're in a same situation where I have a struggling supplier, I need help, reach out to me. Here's the proof. It's right behind me. Different person had the same problem as you did. Here's how we can help. We'll make it streamlined. I'll be your guy in the trenches, and we wrap it all together. And that's had so much success in general because I have messages from people, prospective customers, that will say, hey, I saw your video. I want to send you an NDA. I want you to look at some stuff. Can you quote this? And we move very quick. I mean, LinkedIn being on your phone. I mean, this is the ultimate tool, is your phone right here. I walk out there and I just start recording. You post to LinkedIn, and some people will sometimes you won't get any response from anybody. But I know we had one big tier one in the space back in 24 reach out to me after they saw a video, after I was pestering them for 10 years, trying to get a meeting, sending emails, sending brochures, trying to call. They finally said, you're still in the stamping space, right? We got some stuff that we're looking to move. And boom, right there, got your foot in the door, and now they're a customer. And we have another one right now that I've been working on for 12 years that finally, between networking and posting and staying in front of people and just having that persistence, starts to bear fruit. It's hard. You got to stick it out for the long term, but it will pay dividends. Eventually, what Bill and I, or my dad and I, say is sometimes you just have to wait for somebody to screw up.
Right. Yeah, it's all timing, right? I mean, and that's what we always tell our clients is it's really about the consistency and staying in front of people. It's like it's why you get those direct mailers from credit card companies. They'll send it to you every month. They're just waiting and kind of quote you, they're waiting for somebody to screw up and then they need, they need a more credit or
Exactly.
something like that. So
Exactly.
it totally makes sense. So let me take a step back here because you just mentioned your phone. And let's just talk about the mechanics of your post and how you do this. Walk me through a post. What happens?
Okay.
Everything from the recording to the text that goes with it. How do you do it?
So, well, some background. The past year, I stopped posting like once a day because boy, after doing that for like 2-3 years, you're just mentally exhausted. I'm like, I don't know what to say anymore. So I started to break it up to maybe 2-3 days,
Yep.
posting polls, pictures, whatever. Well, how that whole process starts is usually I'm sitting right here, I'm working, and I'm like, we haven't done anything for social media in a couple days. I got to do something. I'm like, am I going to record here as a in the office video, or am I going to go up to the floor? Is something interesting running? What's running? I look at the cameras on the floor. I say, okay, we got this press running. I'm going to go down there and make a quick video. Go down. I'll see the operator. I said, hey, don't worry about me. I'm just taking a quick video. I won't try to get you in it because a lot of people are camera shy. Okay.
Yeah.
So I say, hey, I'm just going to talk. Don't worry about me. And I do not have any plan whatsoever. I just go up there with this. I get to my video camera, or I get the camera app, and I just start hitting record, and I just start talking. It's easy for me to say this because I have the background of the tools and where they
Yep.
go and what they do and all that kind of stuff. But I just start spewing. I just start talking. I'm like, okay, what does the customer want to know? They want to know, how can I help them with a stamping challenge, or how can I save them money? So usually I'll tie in current events, to some of my posts, like maybe something that's going on, the new year or a big game, or hope you have a good Thanksgiving. But then I'm going to tie that and say, look, despite all that, if you have a stamping challenge, I said, this press behind me running right now, we have a competitive advantage on speed to tonnage ratio. And I know we have low overhead here. How can we help solve a stamping challenge? Because either customers are looking for either cost savings, they're looking to move work away from an underperforming supplier, or they're looking for someone that has a new technology that is hard to find in the marketplace, or an asset that's hard to find in the marketplace. You got to fill one of those three things. And we always say, what is the problem we're trying to solve? And so when I'm going out there and I'm just talking, I'm like, hey, this is a part. We took it over from XYZ company. This runs at this kind of volume on this speed, uses this tonnage. If this is something that you guys might have a need for, we have capacity. And I'm probably trip over my words. And of course, I'm not the most photo friendly person, but I just go and I do a 1-2 minute video, and then done recording, go up, post to LinkedIn. I try to give some insight, some background. Okay, here's what I'm talking about in the video, if you can't actually listen to the video, and post it. And it's received pretty well. I mean, customers of mine have liked it. Competitors of mine have liked it. Suppliers of mine have liked it. So, I mean, it's like, it's there for everybody. I can't be all things to all people. So it's nice to kind of have that community. And especially over the last 5 years, I've really grown, I think, the network, not just, customers and suppliers, but even other people that stamp, but they don't do the same thing. We're progressive stamping. We don't do high speed. Well, there's some people that will specialize in high speed. There might be some people that specialize in transfer stamping versus progressive stamping. And so you don't always step on people's toes when you're posting out there. And in the metal forming industry in general, it's pretty, I don't say mellow, but it's just people are willing to help each other, even though you kind of cross over into, stamping capabilities. The networking group through the Precision Metal Forming Association is very strong. A lot of good people in the trade there.
Okay. So you make the video. Do you take it back just to get the mechanics of this down for somebody who's listening and interested in doing it for the first time? Go back to your PC in your office, upload the video, go to LinkedIn, type in a message, something like that. You probably add some text to the post.
Yeah, usually I'll post just right from the phone, and I'll type something out. I will listen to it back like once or twice just to be like, I did say everything I wanted to say correctly, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
talking and thinking at the same time as to what to do. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Okay, that makes sense. And if someone's looking at this, all right, great. And then I post it. And sometimes if you have a goof up or a little slip, I'm like, it's not a big deal. People seem to enjoy seeing the technology or the manufacturing process in action. And then if you can talk in front of that and help hopefully a customer that's looking for something, then great. It's all benefit.
What I really like about what you're doing, well, first of all, typing out the message on your phone, that to me seems, I mean, your messages are pretty long too. So
Yeah.
are you just pretty adept with the thumbs? Is that
Give me about 5 to 7 minutes and I can get it typed out.
okay? All right.
Sometimes I got to think a little bit more because you always try to craft something a little bit different, a little bit unique without sounding like the same thing over and over and over
Yeah.
again. And sometimes that can be a challenge. But if you can show a fresh tool with a unique situation, or you can tie some current event into your post, great. And again, it would be hard for me now to go out there every single day because then I would sound like I'm repeating. So I try to do it now maybe once a week, maybe twice a week if there's something interesting going on. But it's remarkably easy. I mean, you look back 40, 50 years ago, no one had LinkedIn. You all had to go door to door or on the phone and call and knock. And now you have people that will message you directly sitting right here on an app that's generally for free unless you use Sales Navigator, which is a great product, by the way.
Yeah.
And you can start quoting stuff right through email, and boom. I mean, it's just the time of the sales funnel is just completely shrunk from what it was. So it's good times we live in, I guess.
I mean, it is shrunk. I mean, you just mentioned some of these. You've been working on some of these accounts for years, some of the big ones. So I think the ability for somebody to contact you, turn it around, has definitely um, shortened. And I think what's really shortened is probably the contact points, because maybe in the past you had to go door to door, so you had a territory and you're driving around. Well, now you can get in front of 10,000 people instantly, over and over and over again.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just it's so valuable, and there's so much noise now in the manufacturing space. Like now, there's a lot of people posting, and that's fine. We're all trying to compete for that attention, and social media is the beast that never stops eating. You got to keep feeding it more and
Right.
more and more. And so it's cool to see what other people are doing, but it's all about making a unique message. And so if I can make a unique video that isn't the same thing or the same thing being stamped again and again and again, and say something hopefully mildly interesting or useful, then that's of value. Sometimes one of my other strategies, and this isn't necessarily video recording or using the shop floor, but just sales and marketing in general, is I do try to put a personal post here or there occasionally where I'll take a picture of myself. Maybe it's with family or doing something, or maybe I'll just make a fun video to say, I'm human too. Like, I don't want to seem like the robot where it's like, all I think about is stamping, and stamping's everything in my life. Like, there is a human side to this as well, and say, hey, I'm here to go to work for you. Like, want to solve your stamping challenge. I want you to flourish. I want to flourish. But then I'm also like, this is my family. This is, we're a real person. So I don't go too heavy in that of like just pictures, pictures, pictures. But I think if you kind of just, dabble it in here and there, it helps kind of tie back, hey, he's a real person. He's here to help. Where can we kind of align with what he offers?
Yeah, and congratulations on your son. You had a great post on New Year's, and I think that was beautiful, and that's great stuff. And it's funny because I'm going to mention Justin again. You said, what are you down to, 2 to 3 posts a week?
Yeah, generally, yeah.
And I mean, that seems to be, in terms of, to your point, being sustainable. I do that as well. I've got a 3 posts a week routine where post number one at the beginning of the week is my business and my expertise. Post number two is going to be about these thought leaders, trying to pay it forward and pulling great insights that the guests have. I get that. Try and pay it forward, or a referral for somebody. And then post three is my human side, and where I share stuff about my personal life. And I think what's great about what you did is, like you said, people have to know you. You don't have to get like reveal your soul, or bare your soul or anything like that, but showing them that you're a real person and you're not just out there to pound people,
Yeah.
with your messaging. But I do think one thing that's interesting about what you're doing is you're getting on there and you are educating. I mean, I'm sure you do educating, but hey, you're selling too. You're like, look, here's the problem that we have with another customer. And I think that's great. You're bringing up a very specific problem. And then, hey, we're ready to help you out. Have you found those are more effective than other posts, or they just have a certain place and you've got to remember to do that?
I think they have a certain place, and I know what you're talking about. Like sometimes, if there's auto industry news, because that's of course not all of our work, but a good chunk of our work is for the auto industry. And when you see news about new program launch or this particular thing that's happening, or you hear about issues in the general supply base for automotive, I've been really staunch and vocal about people need to know what their costs are, because if 20% of the supply chain's in jeopardy right now, and those people go under, well, then that just puts more burden. Granted, it's more opportunity for people like us to take in more work, but eventually there's going to be all this work and so few suppliers. Where do you go? People have got to get costs in line, understand what their costs are. I preach on overhead a lot. I preach on like terms for like progress payments for die builds. So sometimes you might be building a $300,000 tool. Some customers might want you to, oh, well, we want to pay you when the part is good, 100% PPAP. Well, it's really hard to finance a $300,000 die build and then wait a year to get paid for it. And so I say, you got to put your foot in the ground, and if terms aren't favorable, you got to say no, go back and just walk away. So that's kind of the educational side, where I take my experience and I try to help other people that are faced with the same thing in our industry, because again, it's a very close-knit community. But then of course the other pendulum side is, hey, I'm selling, how can I help solve a challenge? So I'm trying to educate, and like you say, like this podcast is like thought leaders, try to lead thought to help others, but then also promote ourselves as well as much as we can, and say, okay, who do we want to rely on? Who's got the best brand, and who's got, who can we trust the most? Okay, let's go to Andy. It's like sometimes I'll say like the steakhouse analogy. Okay, do you want to go out to dinner? Do you want to go down to McDonald's, or you want to go to a high-end restaurant? You might be able to be fine with McDonald's, or maybe you want to go to the steakhouse. What experience do you want to be? Where is your brand in relation to that? We, of course, try to go to the steakhouse where, hey, it's more expensive, but hey, you're getting what you paid for. You're getting the best experience. Maybe your situation at a fast food place is just fine. It might be serviceable. That's okay. It all depends on the person, but where do you position your brand and your company and your identity in that? So,
let's just, we're at the top of the hour here, just about, but real quickly, is there anything you would say in terms of differentiating that you'd try and do with your messaging? I mean, we talked about, I love talking about the challenge and being specific what it is that you're solving, but anything else you're doing to differentiate?
yeah, the couple quick things, and it's partially video related, is I will sometimes, and it's hard to do because it requires a lot of volume, is when you're first degree connection with somebody, you can send them a video message or a voice message directly. And not a lot of people know this, but in the Messenger app, just on the phone version, there's a little microphone icon. And even this morning, I messaged somebody. I said, I don't know if you can help me, but I'm looking for who handles stampings at this company. Can you point me in the right direction? I'm trying to see if I could save you guys some money or something like that. He messaged back, I had the stamping buyer the whole time. That's who I messaged. And he's like, yeah, actually I do. Here's my email. Send me some information. So boom, just like that. Because what happens on the other side is people get a notification on their phone says you got a new voice message, and half the people are like, I didn't even know LinkedIn could send a voice message. So they're
Oh,
like,
nice.
whoa, what's that? And then they listen to it, It's more personable than typing because it's actually your voice, and people can kind of connect with that. And then if you really have a lot of bandwidth, I do a whole video message where I've gone out to the floor and made a personal message, and I've been like, "Hey Matt, this is Andy from Ultratech. I'm here at this press. I think I think you handle stampings, or I know you handle stampings. Can you is this something of interest? Do you have a need, a challenge right now? Could we save you money?" And I send that off, and then they see that, and sometimes they'll reply to that. That's a little bit more work. I'll say the voice message is easier, but I differentiate myself there. I don't think a lot of people do that. And then at a time, and this will be my last note, post-COVID, when it's hard to get in front of people on the road, being able to do a video message to kind of talk to them is probably the next best thing.
Yeah, no, I love that. And, why not? And, it shows you're real, first of all. And then it's almost like they're having a one-way conversation with you, but they get to see your expertise and see that you know what you're talking about. So it's just a nice extension of what you're doing online. So I really appreciate that tip, Andy. And I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing some of your insights. I think
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I think you are an inspiration and should be to a lot of owners out there. Small, mid-sized companies, big companies, whatsoever, doesn't matter. Get your face out there, be the part of your brand, and you just have so much more sway on LinkedIn with your personal account than your company account.
Oh, yeah, good point. I mean, I used to double post, and that was hard to do. But then I found there's just not as many people following the company page, and it all filters through me, and I'm like, well, we'll leave the company page there, but everyone is like, okay, if you're the face of the brand, the company, you might as well just stick with what I'm doing and not double post, because it makes a lot of work, and it's just no one's messaging the company page going, hey, I got this RFQ. They're just coming to me anyway. So it's just more work for little gain.
People do business with people, not with companies, or at least that's how they want to do it. So great. Andy Melang. So Andy, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, they've got a stamping project they want to do, maybe even they want to just become a referral source or learn how you guys can work together to generate more business, how do they do it?
I would say the best, easiest way, go to my LinkedIn profile. I think my hashtag or my hyperlink is like linkedin.com/stampings actually. So I kind of made it custom there. Say,
okay, cool.
Stampings, come to my profile, message me. That's the easiest way. This thing's on almost, like 24/7. I'll get back to you within minutes typically, unless it's midnight.
Yeah.
And I would say that's the best way. And I'll send whoever wants to send me a message and email and say, hey, let's take this to email and whatnot. I would say my email on here, but it's a really long email.
Yeah, right. That's good. Yeah, I think LinkedIn is the best place to start. So, Andy, Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. And thanks to everyone for viewing another episode of Thought Leaders Live.
Yep. Thank you.